Hi, hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to Tapasya YouTube channel, and we are here solving the PYQs, that is past year question papers of NEET, and sir has already solved. Shantanu sir has solved 2024's NEET paper, and I am Vandana here so let's start to solve the NEET question paper biology session of the year 2023. So enthusiastically, let's begin the session. Let's finish it like a boom to the century. So are you ready? Let's begin. First question is here. It's the NEET 2023 question paper is being solved with the justification of all the options. So let's begin the session. Hope this helps you a lot while cracking your exam NEET 2025. You will get a rough idea on how the questions appear and how to solve, when to consider it wrong and when the option is right. So let's begin. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion A and the other is labeled as reason R. As you all are aware, the question that usually appears in NEET, like one is assertion and one is reason, that justifies the above statement. So let us look at it. Assertion A: the first stage of gametophyte in the life cycle of moss is proteinoma stage. Reason are: proteinoma develops directly from spores produced in capsule. Here they are speaking about the reproduction of mosses, where they have given assertion and reason. So where the first stage of gametophyte in moss is proteinoma stage, correct, and reason because proteinoma develops directly from spores produced in capsule. Both are correct. In the light of the above statement, choose the most appropriate answer from the options given below. Let's look at the options. A is not correct, but R is correct. No, A is also correct. Both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. Let's look at other options also. Both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is correct, but R is not correct. We found that we are accounting that both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation for A. So here the answer must be option B. Okay, going to the next question. Identify the pair of heterosporous pteridophytes among the following. You have to know the meaning of what are heterosporous and homosporous. Homosporous are where the spores are produced in uniform size, that is male and female spores are same in size, while in heterosporous both the spores differ in size and function. Okay, here it means one of the spore is small, which will be motile, that is male, and the other larger one non-motile, female. So let's look at the options. Equisetum and Salvinia, Lycopodium and Selaginella, Selaginella and Salvinia, Silolum and Salvinia. From the given options, we can justify the options first. In option A, they have given Equisetum, which is homosporous, and in option B, Lycopodium, that is also homosporous, and Silolum, which is also homosporous. So option C, Selaginella and Salvinia, is the correct answer, where both are heterosporous pteridophytes. Coming to the next question, family Fabaceae differs from Solanaceae and Liliaceae. With respect to the stamens, pick out the characteristics specific to the family Fabaceae but not found in Solanaceae or Liliaceae. Here they are asking the question which is more likely in Fabaceae and not found in Liliaceae and Solanaceae with respect to stamens. So let's look at the options. Epiphyllous and Dithecous anthers, Diadelphous and Dithecous anthers, Polyadelphous and epipetalous stamens, Monoadelphous and Monothecous anthers. Let's understand what are these terms. Okay, Epiphyllous and Dithecous anthers means here the stamen is attached to the leaf surface and it has two chambers. Okay, next Diadelphus and Dithecus anthers. Here we from the term we can understand that the anthers has two chambers, and diadelphus means they are attached to the leaf surface through petal. Polyadelphus and epipetalous stamen. Here the stamen are grouped in many different groups. In monoadelphus, the stamens are grouped as one single group, and epipetalous means the stamen is attached to the petal, and monothecous means the anther as one chamber. So here the A, B and C is relevant in Solanaceae and Liliaceae but not in the family Fabaceae. So here the answer is B. Okay. Next question, axial placentation is observed in. Before going to the question, let's understand what is axial placentation. It is the arrangement of placenta at central axis of ovary. So that is meant by the term axial placentation. So let's look at the options. China rose, petunia and lemon, mustard, cucumber and primrose, China rose, beans and lupin, tomato, dianthus and pea. So you have to remember from the theory what are the different types of placentations and what are its examples. Let's begin from option D. Here P has marginal, okay, marginal placentation. Beans and lupin also have marginal placentation, and here in option B we can see the cucumber, primrose and mustard which does not have axial placentation. So here the answer must be option A, China rose, petunia and lemon. Next question, given below are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. In the light of the above statements, choose the correct answer from the options given below. Let's read the statement. Endarts and exarchs are the terms often used for describing the position of secondary xylem in the plant body. What is endarch? It is the protoxylem present in the towards the inside of the vascular bundle, while exarch refers to the protoxylem present outside the vascular bundle. Okay, are they the terms describing the position of secondary xylem? No, so you cannot consider statement 1. Statement 2, exarch condition is the most common feature of the root system. As told before, what is exarch? It is the protoxylem present on outside of the vascular bundle, which is most predominantly found in the root system. So yes, statement 2 is correct. Let's look at the options. Statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is true. Yes. Both 1 and 2 are true. No. 1 and 2 are false. No. 1 is correct, but 2 is false. No. So here the answer is option A. 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct. Next question, given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and other as reason. Let's look at the statement. Assertion A tells that late wood has fewer xylem elements with narrow vessels, and reason is cambium is less active in winters. So when there is presence of cambium, we have secondary meristematic growth, and the vascular bundle is referred as open. So what happens? There is also a condition for the development of cambium. It is more likely to divide in spring than in autumn. It depends on the weather. So here A is also correct, R is also correct, but let's look at what are the options. A is false but R is true. No. A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A correct. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation. No. A is true but R is false. So here answer is A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Why? Because late wood is the wood, that is the cambium, formed in autumn, and it has few auxiliary elements with narrow vessels because cambium is less active in winter. So A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Option B is the right answer. Next question. Oh, here the answer is first only shown. Cellulose does not form blue color with iodine because, not because it breaks down when iodine reacts with it, and cellulose is a polysaccharide, it is not disaccharide. It is a helical molecule. No, it does not contain complex helices, therefore it cannot hold the iodine molecule. So cellulose does not form blue color, that is it cannot withhold the iodine molecule because they do not have complex helices. Next question, among eukaryotes replication of DNA takes place in, let's look at the options, G2 phase, M phase, S phase, G1 phase. So you have to think about the events occurring in the following phases. Coming to G1 and G2 phase, in both the phases cell grow, correct? In G2 phase, what happens, cell grow and prepare for cell division. In G1 phase they prepare for DNA replication. In M phase mitosis and cytokinesis occurs. It is in synthesis phase that the actual replication of DNA takes place. So the answer is C, S phase. Next question, which of the following stages of meiosis involves division of centromere? Again there's a question related to the cell division. Let's look at the options, telophase, metaphase 1, metaphase 2, anaphase 2. So basically what happens in telophase, the nuclear membrane reappears, yes, so there is complete cell division, new cell is formed. In metaphase 1 what happens, the chromosomes are arranged on the equatorial plane. In metaphase 2 again they have the arrangement on the equator. It is in anaphase that division of centromere occurs. Next question, the process of appearance of recombination nodules occur at which substage of prophase 1 in meiosis? Through these questions it is relevant that cell division has predominant role in the question paper, yes, because there are 3 consecutive questions based on cell cycle. So let's look at the options, diakinesis, pachytene, zygotine, diplotin. Okay, the process of appearance of recombination nodules occurs at which substage of prophase 1 in meiosis? So basically here first you have to understand what are diakinesis, pachytene, zygotine and diplotin. Okay, so what happens in diakinesis, chromosomes are condensed, correct, and nuclear envelope breaks down. In zygotine, synaptic complex is formed. In diplotin, homologous chromosomes begin to separate but they remain at chiasmata. So what happens in pachytene, there is appearance of recombination nodules that occurs at substage of prophase 1 in meiosis. So here the answer is option B. Next question, movement and accumulation of ions across a membrane against their concentration gradient can be explained by. They are asking for the type of transport. Let's look at the options, active transport, osmosis, facilitated diffusion, passive diffusion. Let's come from option D, passive transport. What happens, there is movement of molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration without energy. It does not require energy. And what is facilitated diffusion? It is also a kind of passive transport that does not require energy. Osmosis, the movement of molecules from higher to lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So movement and accumulation of ions across a membrane against their concentration gradient with using energy, that is ATP, is option A, active transport, which is the answer. Next question, given below are two statements. Statement 1, the forces generated by transpiration can lift a xylem-sized column of water over 130 meters height. Statement 2, transpiration cools leaf surfaces sometimes 10 to 15 degrees by evaporative cooling. Okay. Yes, the forces that occur due to transpiration can suck water up to 130 meters. Correct. And transpiration, yes, it can fluctuate the temperature up to 10 to 15 degrees by providing the cooling effect to the plant. So both are correct. Let's look at what are the options. Statement 1 is incorrect, but 2 is correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. 1 and 2 are incorrect. 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. Here option B, 1 and 2 both are correct is the answer. Next question, which micronutrient is required for splitting of water molecule during photosynthesis? Okay, which one of the micronutrient, not the macronutrient, it's the micronutrient required for splitting of water for oxygen to be produced during photosynthesis? Let's look at the options. Copper, manganese, molybdenum and magnesium. So you have to know the proper functions of the given nutrients. Okay, so what magnesium does, it is responsible for absorption of light energy during photosynthesis. Molybdenum, it maintains the stability during photosynthesis. Correct. What actually manganese does, copper is involved in photolysis. Manganese is the micronutrient that is responsible for splitting of water H2O into hydrogen and oxygen respectively, and it is responsible for producing oxygen molecules during photosynthesis. So manganese is the correct answer. Next question, how many ATP and NADPH are required for synthesis of one molecule of glucose during Kelvin cycle? Let's look at the options. Before that, we all know that to produce one glucose molecule, it has to undergo 3 Kelvin cycles, correct? And each Kelvin cycle requires 6 ATP. So let's look at the answer, given options. As told, one glucose molecule is produced by 3 as told before, to produce one glucose molecule you have to know the Kelvin cycles required. Okay, so 6 Kelvin cycle is required to produce one glucose molecule. So it is 3 ATP and 2 NADPH required. So for 6 cycles, 6 multiplied by 3 is 18. We have 18 ATP in A and C, but it is 2 NADPH. So in 6 cycles it must be 12. So here the answer is option C, 18 ATP and 12 NADPH2. Next question, the reaction center in PS2 as an absorption maximum at, let's look, 780, 680 nanometer, 700 nanometer, 660 nanometer. We know that photosystem 1 as its maximum absorption at 700 nanometer. So it is for PS2, it is 680 nanometer, which is option B. Next question, again we have assertion and reason. So when you have this kind of similar questions, stop looking at the question thoroughly. Just observe it if there is identified wrong statement or which is incorrect or which is not correct. Only if the question is in such form, look it at carefully. When they have two statements, it is definitely assertion and reason. So let's look at it. Don't waste time just simply going to it, but be careful that it is not mentioned not, incorrect, wrong. Okay, here ATP is used at 2 steps in glycolysis. First step is used in converting glucose into glucose 6-phosphate, yes, which is the very first step of glycolysis. And second ATP is used in conversion of fructose 6-phosphate into fructose 1,6-diphosphate, which is also correct. The first and second consecutive ATPs are used in these two process, so both 1 and 2 are correct. Let's look at the options. A is false, no. Both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A, yes, so answer must be B. R is not correct explanation, it is not correct. R is false, that is also not correct, so here the answer is option B. A and R are correct and R is the correct explanation of A. Next question, spraying of which of the following phytohormone on juvenile conifers helps in hastening the maturity period that leads to early seed production? That is, they are asking which of the phytohormones must be sprayed to plants so that they acquire maturity at the early stage, even before the actual time. Let's look at what are the options. Abscisic acid, indole 3-butyric acid, gibberellic acid, zeatin. So let's know what actually these hormones deals with. Abscisic acid is relevant for stress management in plants, and indole and zeatin, it's for root development and shoot development. So here the phytohormone that it attains the maturity at earliest is the gibberellic acid. So here the answer is option C. Next question, in tissue culture experiments, leaf mesophyll cells are put in a culture medium to form callus. This phenomenon may be called as, let's look at the options. Senescence, differentiation, dedifferentiation, development. So what is senescence? That is, the cell growth stops there and some inflammatory molecule is produced. This is not relevant to the question given. Differentiation is the cells divide and they attain one particular function, that is differentiation. Development is the normal process that the cell develops that in function. So the answer must be dedifferentiation, where the specialized cell revert back to less specialized cell, that is leaf mesophyll cells. When put in culture medium, they form callus. Okay, mass of undifferentiated cells is callus. So here the answer must be option C, dedifferentiation. Next question, which hormone promotes intermode or petiole elongation in deep water rice? Again, they are asking about hormone and plant. Let's look at the options. 2,4-D, okay, GA3, kinetin, ethylene. Here they are not given the direct names as it has happened in the earlier question, but they have given the other forms of names by which you have to also identify what are they actually. Okay, so ethylene, as we all know, it is usually used for ripening of fruits. Okay, here they are asking for petiole elongation, somewhat related to growth, correct. Kinetin is again related to cytokinin and cell division. Okay, cytokinin is essential for cell division. GA3 is the gibberellic acid. Okay, I'll tell you the function. And what is this 2,4-D? Can you think of it? Okay, so it is auxin. What is auxin actually required for? It is for weeds control. So here the answer must be B, gibberellic acid again. Large, colorful, fragrant flowers with nectar are seen in. Okay, they have given some common sense questions also which you can directly answer. Okay, why do someone appear beautiful? Okay, yeah, I have come in uniform today, but I come in ethnic wear, correct. I also dress beautiful. Why? Because it's special, and sometimes because someone whom I want, to them I should appear attractive. Yes, that is also a reason. So it must be that here. Wind pollinated plants. Why do wind need beautiful decoration? No. only living beings are self-conscious, so only we can recognize what is beautiful and what is not. Insect pollinated plants, bird pollinated plants and bat pollinated plants. Here we are well aware the modes of pollination, it is air, water, insect or self-pollination. So definitely the answer must be, you must have arrived, by this time you must have arrived to the answer. It is option B, insect pollinated plants. Next question, in angiosperm, the haploid, diploid and triploid structures of a fertilized embryo sac sequentially are. They are asking for the haploid, diploid and triploid structures in fertilized embryo sac. Let's look at the options. Synergids, antipodals. So antipodals, what are antipodals? They provide nutrition to the gametes, correct, or zygote. Next, you cannot have antipodals here. They're asking for haploid, diploid and triploid sequentially. So it must be synergids, zygote and primary endosperm nucleus, correct. First you have synergids, then you have zygote which is diploid, haploid, diploid and primary endosperm nucleus, PEN, abbreviated as PEN, where the two polar nuclei goes and fuses, so forms the primary endosperm nucleus. So the answer is option D. Next question, what is the function of tassels in the corn cob? What is this? What are these tassels? They are the male reproductive organ of the corn plant. So let's look at the options. To protect seeds, to attract insects, to trap pollen grains, to disperse pollen grains. As we came to know that it is the male reproductive part, is its function to protect seeds? No. Attract insects? No, because you also have to think of the mode of pollination. And trap pollen grains? No, but it is meant to produce pollen grains and disperse them so that the pollen grains reach the ovary and fertilize. So the answer is D. Next question, the phenomenon of pleiotropism refers to. We are coming to genes now. Okay, not the genes which we wear, the genes which we have. Let's look. More than 2 genes affecting a single character. Presence of several alleles of single gene controlling a single crossover. Presence of 2 alleles, each of 2 genes controlling a single trait. A single gene affecting multiple phenotypic expression. So by the term you have to know the answer. Yes, single gene controls the multiple phenotypic expression. So here the answer is D. Next question, frequency of recombination between gene pairs on same chromosome as measure of distance between genes to map their position of chromosome was used for the first time by. They are asking the scientists who used the position of chromosome for the first time. So let's look at the options. Henking, Thomas Hunt Morgan, Sutton and Boveri, Alfred Sturtevant. So you must know their contribution in biology. Unlike physics and chemistry, as it is not included with the reactions or derivations or less of writing, so you have to remember each and every example, each and every scientist names and their contribution, very important while cracking such exams. In theory you can manage anyhow by writing at least the known part of the question, but it is very essential that you remember appropriate answers and appropriate subject knowledge is essential to crack such exams. So let's look what are the contributions of these scientists. Okay, so let me give a moment, think what it might be. How many of you can try to answer, because it's a little quite different just to remember what is their contribution. Okay. Here, Thomas Hunt Morgan, he has studied about the sex linkage in fruit flies. Henking has also worked on sex chromosomes, and Sutton and Boveri, they are studied the chromosomal basis of inheritance. So for the first time, who used the position on chromosomes, mapping the chromosomes, was Alfred Sturtevant. So here the answer is Alfred Sturtevant is the correct answer. Next question, what is the role of RNA polymerase 3 in the process of transcription in eukaryotes? Okay, now they are asking for the questions related to transcription and translation. That is the central dogma of molecular biology, correct? DNA first self-replicates, then DNA to mRNA, mRNA to protein. Step of translation and transcription. So let's look. Transcription of only snRNAs, transcription of rRNAs, transcription of tRNA, 5sRNA and snRNA, transcription of precursor of mRNA. Through the subject knowledge, we are aware that RNA polymerase 3, which is one of the most predominant polymerase found in eukaryotes, is responsible for transcription of tRNA, 5sRNA and snRNA. So here the answer is option C. Let's look at the next question. Express sequence tags refers to. Let's look at the option. Certain important expressed genes. They are not certain. They are all genes that are expressed as RNAs. Yes. All genes are expressed as proteins. All genes, whether expressed or unexpressed, it is essential that each and every DNA in our body undergoes transcription and translation. That is, all are expressed as RNAs. All genes become RNA. So here the answer is option 2. Unequivocal proof that DNA is the genetic material was first proposed by. Again, it is the question relevant to the scientists. Let's look at the options. Wilkins and Franklin, Frederick Griffith, Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase, Avery McLeod and McCarthy. So here in the theory you will be definitely knowing Griffith experiment and Hershey's experiment also, by which you can exclude the options very easily. I think you can guess the answer in this question. Okay. Any guessings? Okay. Now here Franklin, he was associated with the experiments related to X-ray, and what did Avery do? He actually proved us that protein is not the inheriting material, but it is the DNA. And you know what, Griffith, he was done with the pneumonia experiment. So unequivocal proof that DNA is the genetic material was first told by Alfred Hershey. We know that Hershey and Chase experiment, which is the correct answer. Next question. Upon exposure to UV radiation, DNA stained with ethidium bromide will show. Okay, when you perform electrophoresis to know the what you do electrophoresis for what purpose? Okay, to sequence DNA, RNA, proteins. So there you stain the DNA with a dye called ethidium bromide. Why? Because the DNA has to be visible to us. So, through electrophoresis, we try to look at the DNA and also know their molecular weight when the molecular weight marker is put. So let's look at the options. Bright orange color, bright red color, bright blue color, bright yellow color. Here what happens? The ethidium bromide, when it is put onto DNA, it forms the bond with the DNA. So it appears bright orange in color. Okay, so let's look at the next question. So what happens here is the base pairs of DNA and the ethidium bromide will intercalate to give bright orange color. Next question. In gene gun method, what is used to introduce alien DNA into host cells? Microparticles of dash metal are used. You must be knowing in recombinant DNA technology there are different methods where you create a recombinant DNA. Okay, here they are asking with specific to gene gun method, which metal is used in the gun. All must be knowing it. Let's look at the options. Which of the metals? Silver, copper, zinc, tungsten or gold? It's very easy. It's tungsten or gold. Yes. So next question. During the purification process for recombinant DNA technology, addition of chilled ethanol precipitates out. Okay. When you are doing recombinant DNA technology, you use chilled ethanol, which precipitates, what gets precipitated out? Let's look. Polysaccharides, RNA, DNA, histones. You are basically performing an experiment related to DNA. So when you add ethanol, what must get precipitated is very clear DNA, because it forms the ionic bond with the sodium Na plus and DNA forms, which causes the precipitation of DNA. Ethanol promotes the ionic bond formation between Na plus and DNA. Next question. You have to identify the correct statements out of these 5. Let's look. Detritivores perform fragmentation. Humus is further degraded by some microbes during mineralization. Water soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil and get precipitated by a process called leaching. The detritus food chain begin with living organism. Earthworms break down detritus into smaller particles by a process called catabolism. So let's look, let's justify which are the options that are correct. Yes, detritivores perform fragmentation, that is correct. That is the asexual mode of reproduction. The humus is further degraded by some microbes during mineralization, correct. Water soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil and get precipitated by a process called leaching, which is also correct. The detritus food chain begins with living organisms. No, it begins with dead decaying matter. So option D is wrong. Earthworms break down detritus into smaller particles by a process called catabolism. Yes, earthworms do break, but the process is not named as catabolism. So here D and E are wrong. Only A, B, C are correct. Let's look at the options which contains A, B, C are correct. D, E, A only. No, D and E. A, B, C only. So yes, the answer is option B. Let's look at the next question. In the equation GPP minus R is equal to NPP. GPP is gross primary productivity, NPP is net primary productivity. What does R here stands for? Reproductive allocation, photosynthetically active radiation, respiratory quotient, respiratory loss. Okay, getting bored? No, don't, because we have only covered quarter part of the question paper. We are still left with 68 more. So be with zeal to attempt the next questions and try to answer even before I give you the answer. Okay, even if you don't know why is it wrong, just try which might be correct. Let's be interactive. Okay, nice evening. Enjoying the pleasant weather? Okay, let's look what might be the answer. Yes, here the answer is option D, respiratory loss. Next question. The historic convention on biological diversity, the Earth Summit, was held in Rio de Janeiro in the year. All must be knowing this by the year, as easy it is. It is in 1992. Next question. Among the evil quartet, which one is considered the most important cause driving extinction of species? Which of the following reasons are considered as the Okay, most important cause for extinction of species. Let's look at the option. A. Co-extinctions, habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation for economic gain, alien species invasions. Though all these reasons are equally responsible for extinction of species, but here one of the most important reason is given, which must be option B, habitat loss and fragmentation. It is when the species start feeling that they are not, the condition habitat is not favorable to them, and there is fragmentation occurring, that is division occurring. That is when there is extinction of species. That is why it is considered the most important. Though all contribute to extinction of species, most important one is option B, habitat loss and fragmentation. Let's look at the next question. The thickness of ozone in a column of air in the atmosphere is measured in terms of, oh, I'm not asking you the units to be remembered as in physics or chemistry. Okay, it's rarely asked in bio, so you must be knowing the answer by its term. Kilobase, Dobson units, decameter, decibels. What are decibels used for sound? Decameter, it's not related to ozone. Okay, so what must be the answer? Dobson unit, B. Next question, given below are two statements. One is labeled, yeah, we have assertion and reason again. In gymnosperms, the pollen grains are released from the microsporangium and carried by air currents. Correct. Air currents carry the pollen grains to the mouth of the archegonia, where the male gametes are discharged and pollen tube is not formed. No, the reason is wrong. There is formation of pollen grains and the pollens are taken to the ovule for fertilization. So A is correct and R is wrong. Let's look at the options which has it. A is true but R is false. Yes, D is the correct answer. Let's look at the next question. Given below are two statements. One is, again we have assertion and reason. A flower is defined as modified shoot wherein the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. Reason, internode of the shoot gets condensed to produce different floral appendages laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. So let's look at the options. A is false, R is true. Both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. Yes, both are correct and R is the correct explanation of A. So, flower is defined as modified shoot. So, what happens? There is a flower, okay, floral meristem. So, what happens? Internode gets condensed here to form the successive nodes. There are no leaves, instead of that nodes are formed. So both are correct and this is the correct explanation for A. So here option B is the correct answer. Next question, identify the correct statements. So let's exclude the wrong statements. Lenticles are the lens-shaped openings permitting the gaseous exchange, that is exchange of gases. Yes, they are present on the stem. Bark formed early in the season is called hard bark. It's formed early, so it must be not correct. Bark is a technical term that refers to all tissues exterior to vascular cambium. No. Bark refers to periderm and secondary phloem. No. Phelogen is single layered in thickness. So let's look at the options. B and C. B, C and E, A and D, A, B and D only. Okay, let's justify what it might be. So here it is not hard bark but it is soft bark. Correct. Next, bark is a technical term that refers to all tissues exterior to vascular cambium, which is also not correct because bark is cambium. It is not vascular cambium, it's called cambium. Bark refers to peridome and secondary phloem, which is also not correct because which is correct here. Phelogen is single layered. No, they are multiple layered. Okay, so here only A and D are correct, so it is given in option C. Next question. Melanate inhibits the growth of pathogenic bacteria by inhibiting the activity of. So here they are asking the inhibition of the activity, where melanate is the competitive inhibitor of the bacteria. Why? Which of the enzyme is responsible? Dinitrogenase, succinic dehydrogenase, amylase, lipase. So you have to know the function. What lipase does? It is involved in the breakdown of lipids and fat molecules, whereas amylase is the enzyme responsible for breakdown of carbohydrates that you intake. And what is denitrogenase? It is involved in converting the free nitrogen into ammonia. So it is succinic dehydrogenase, which where the enzyme actually inhibits the bacteria by binding to the active site. Okay, melanate binds to the active site of the enzyme to inhibit. So here the answer is option B. Next question, we have match the following. Okay, look at the given list 1 and list 2 and try to match this taking a fraction of second or 2. So let's begin to solve. M phase, it is equational division. Okay, G2 phase, proteins are synthesized. Quiescent stage and initiation of DNA replication, it is inactive phase. G1 phase, it is M is with equational division, G2 is with protein synthesis, quiescent stage is inactive phase, and G1 phase is interval between mitosis. So it is A4, B1, C2 and D3 given in option D. Next question, again we have matched the following: cohesion, addition, surface tension and guttation. Guttation is the water loss. Let's have the options. Cohesion is mutual attraction among water molecules. Addition is attraction towards polar surfaces, and guttation is mutual attraction among water molecules, and surface tension is more attraction in liquid phase. So it must be A3, B4, C1 and A2. So here it is option B. Cohesion, mutual attraction among water molecules. Addition, it is attraction towards polar surfaces. Surface tension, more attraction in liquid phase. Guttation, mutual attraction among water molecules. Water loss in liquid phase. I'm sorry. Again, I'll be repeating it. Cohesion is the mutual attraction among water molecules. Addition is the attraction towards polar surfaces. Surface tension, it is more attraction in liquid phase, and guttation is the water loss in liquid phase. So answer is option B. Let's look at the next question. Again you have the match the following. Okay, here they have given the components or the elements, and you have to know what are its function. Okay, let's have the options and try to match the answer. Okay, iron, zinc, boron and molybdenum. So take a moment and think about what might be the answer. Okay, here iron, it's activator of catalase, correct, A with 3, and zinc is for synthesis of auxin, and boron, which is for cell elongation and differentiation, molybdenum which is for component of nitrate. So here the answer must be D. Next question, which of the following combinations is required for chemiosmosis? Let's look at the options. Proton pump, electron gradient, NADP synthesis. As soon as you go to the term chemiosmosis, you must be aware that you require ATP. So let's look which option has ATP. ATP synthesis is present in both B and D, but you require proton gradient. So here the answer must be option B. Next question, again you have the match the following. So let's try to match. Okay, you are given with the cycles, okay, pathways, metabolic pathways, and here you have the name or the product as such. You know, TCA cycle is for citrate synthesis. Let's have the options too. So here you have TCA cycle for citrate synthase, correct? And you have oxidative phosphorylation, and you have glycolysis, that is for EMP pathway, correct? No, wait, 1 second. Let's look at the options. Oxidative decarboxylation, it is oxidative decarboxylation, glycolysis, oxidative phosphorylation, tricarboxylic acid cycle, TCA cycle. So in list 2, what do we have? Citrate synthase, pyruvate, and electron transport system, and EMP pathway. So let's try to match among these. Okay, oxidative decarboxylation is with pyruvate, correct? Glycolysis is with EMP pathway. Oxidative phosphorylation is with electron transport system, and TCA with citrate synthase. So here the option must be A2, B4, C3 and D1. D1, A2. So here the answer is option A. Next question, which of the following statements are correct about Klinefelter syndrome? What is Klinefelter syndrome? It is a autosomal disorder where we have the chromosomal is impaired. Okay, usually male are affected and they have XXY. One extra X chromosome is present. So you have to identify which is correct. This disorder was first discovered by Langdon Down. No, it was first discovered by Harry Klinefelter. This is wrong. Such an individual has overall masculine development. However, the feminine development is also expressed. Correct. B is correct. The affected individuals is short stature. D, physical, psychomotor and mental development is retarded, and such individuals are sterile. Here we can see that D and E are relevant to the syndrome, while A we have justified why is it wrong, while C and D have the symptoms which is not the more relevant characteristic of this syndrome. So here the correct statement is B and E, while A, C and D are wrong. So let's look at the options. We have the correct statements for B and E, that is option D. Next question, how many different proteins does the ribosome consist of? You must be well known to this point. You have how many subunits of the ribosome and how many different proteins does the ribosome actually have? Yes, even before giving the options you can tell the answer. Yes, it is 80. Let's look at the options though. 20, 80, 60, 40. Yes, answer is option B, 80. Next question, main steps in the formation of recombinant DNA are given below. Arrange these steps in a correct sequence. Okay, they have given all this they have given the statements, just you have to arrange them. Let's look. Insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell, cutting of DNA at specific location by restriction enzyme, isolation of desired DNA fragment, identification of gene of interest using PCR. You will be knowing this answer, yes, because you will have learned the chapter recombinant DNA technology and you will be knowing the steps which follows. So think for a moment and try to figure out the order of the statements given. So okay, what must be the order? It is cutting off DNA at specific location by restriction enzyme, yes. Then you isolate first, you cut a DNA using the restriction enzyme, using the molecular scissors. Then you are isolating that gene of interest, correct. Then you are multiplying, that is amplifying the gene using PCR. It is then you are inserting that amplified DNA to host. So here it must be B, C, D, A. Let's look at the options. Here option B as the order B, C, D, A. First you look at you opt for your gene of interest, you cut them using molecular scissors, you isolate the gene of interest, you amplify using PCR. It is then you insert it to the host. So it is B, C, D, A, option B. Next question, given below are two statements. Statement 1, Gauss competitive exclusive principle states that two closely related species competing for the same related species for the same resources cannot coexist indefinitely, and competitively inferior one will be eliminated eventually. What this means is two related species like you and your friend, okay, who are of almost like-minded, you are there, okay. Then they are telling when both of you compete for one, there is a chocolate for which both of you are competing, okay, and competitively inferior one will be eliminated, and the chocolate is kept here. One of you has to come here. Who reaches first will get the chocolate, the other one will not. So what does it mean? That he is not capable of doing it, that is he is inferior. That is what this statement tells, okay, related to competitive exclusive principle, which holds correct. Next, 2, in general carnivores and more adversely affected by competition than herbivores. No, this is not likely true. It is like you are two friends, one vegetarian and one non-vegetarian. Now you have been to a dinner at the hotel where have both veg and non-veg. So who is benefited more, who is benefited less? Definitely the herbivore. That is, only vegetarian friend is in loss because he cannot eat non-veg. Non-veg can eat both. He has the option, but he can eat both. So here the statement is wrong because carnivores are not more adversely affected, but it is the herbivores which are more adversely affected. So let's look at the options. Here we have that 1 is correct and 2 is incorrect. Let's directly look at that answer. 1 is correct but 2 is false. Option D. Let's look at the next question. Okay, here you have the match the following with related to mutualism, commensalism, amensalism and parasitism. As we all know, what is mutualism? Where both the organisms are benefited, correct? So it must be denoted by plus A and plus B. A goes to 4. Let's have the options also. Next we have parasitism. Only one is benefited while the other is harmed. So D goes for 3. Correct? It is next we have commensalism and amensalism. In commensalism, one is benefited while the other remains unharmed. While in amensalism, one is harmed but the other remains unaffected. So here the answer must be A4 and D1. Let's look. Sorry. A4 and D3. We have two options, B and C. So you have to decide whether B is 1 or 2. So it's C. Option C, commensalism. One is benefited while the other remains unharmed. Next question. Which of the following answers are not correct? Be careful while attempting the question which states not correct, wrong statements, incorrect statements to be identified. Okay. Here let's read the options. The amount of, you have to identify the wrong statement. The amount of some toxic substances of industrial wastewater increase in the organisms at successive trophic levels. The microorganism involved in biodegradation of organic matter in a sewage polluted water body consume a lot of oxygen, causing the death of aquatic organisms. Algal blooms caused by excess of organic matter in water improve water quality and promote fisheries. Water hyacinth grows abundantly in eutrophic water bodies and leads to an imbalance in the ecosystem dynamics of the water body. Yes, water hyacinth grows and it imbalances the ecosystem of water body because they consume a lot of oxygen. Okay, so there will be biological oxygen demand. This is correct. Then in option A, you have the toxic substances, yes, related to biomagnification, which is also correct. Then in option B, you have the what is the statement? Microorganisms that are involved in biodegradation consume lot of oxygen, that is they increase the biological oxygen demand. As they degrade the organic matter, they consume much of oxygen, so there is the death of aquatic organisms. Correct. A, B and D are correct. Algal blooms are caused by excess of organic matter, and they do really algal blooms improve the water quality? No, they deplete the water quality and they cause for the mortality of the fishes. They do not promote fishery. So the incorrect statement is option C. Next question. Radial symmetry is not found in adults of phylum. Coming to the symmetric property of the organisms in related to phylum, let's look what are the options. Echinodermata, Ctenophora, Hemichordata and Coelenterata. So what happens in Ctenophora and Coelenterata? We know that they are radially symmetric, correct? When coming to Echinodermata and Hemichordata, in Echinodermata we have starfish, where the larval stage they have bilateral symmetry, but when they come to the adult stage they have the radial symmetry. So Hemichordata is the only phylum in the given option that does not have the radial symmetry. So here the answer is C. Next question, you have to match list 1 with list 2. Taenia, Paramecium, Periplankton, Peritima. So Theria, what is it? It is the platyhelminthus which has flame cells as the kidney. Correct. Paramecium, contractile vacuole because they belong to kingdom Plantae. Periplante is the American cockroach. They have given the scientific name. In cockroaches, we know the excretory gland is uricose gland. Okay. Peritima, okay, is with any lids which has the excretory organ as nephrida. So it is A3, B2, C4 and D1. Let's look where the option has D1. Yes, it is in option D. So option D is the correct answer. Next question, given below are two statements. Ligaments are dense irregular tissue. Statement 2, cartilage is dense regular tissue. In the light of above statement, choose the correct answer from the option given below. We shall also look at the options now. Statement 1 is false and 2 is true. It's not 3, it's 2. Both statement 1 and 2 are true. Both statement 1 and 2 are false. Both 1 is true but 2 is false. Okay, they are asking which is correct and which is wrong. Ligaments, are they dense irregular tissue? No, they are dense regular connective tissue. And cartilage is dense regular tissue. Cartilage is also a connective tissue. So here both the statements are wrong. Therefore, the answer is C. Both 1 and 2 are false. Next question. Which of the following are not considered as part of endomembrane system? That is, they're not asking which is present. They're basically asking which is not present. So, by knowing which is present, you can exclude the other. Correct? We know that in endomembrane, there is endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi complex. But here we have mitochondria, chloroplast and peroxisomes that are not a part of endomembrane and are distinct in function. So let's look at the options. They are asking which are not present. So it is A, C and E. Option C is the answer. Next question. Which of the following functions is carried out by cytoskeleton in a cell? Let's look at the option. Transportation, nuclear division, protein synthesis, motility. Cytoskeleton is basically made up of filamentous protein that help in the intercellular transportation. So it must be motility. They do not help in, or they do not carry out protein synthesis or nuclear division, but not transportation. The most appropriate answer is motility. Next, we have two statements. Low temperature preserves the enzyme in a temporarily inactive state, whereas high temperature destroys enzymatic activity because proteins are denatured by heat. Yes, you must be knowing this, which is correct. Second statement, what does it tell? When the inhibitor closely resembles the substrate in its molecular structure and inhibits the activity of the enzyme, it is known as competitive inhibitor. So they're telling you have an inhibitor that is synthesized artificially and structurally it is similar to the enzyme, but it inhibits the activity of the actual enzyme. That is called competitive inhibitor. Yes, both 1 and 2 are correct. Let's look at the options. So we have it in option B, which is the correct answer. Next question. Given below are two statements A and B. Protein is imagined as a line, the left end represented by first amino acid C terminal and the right end represented by last amino acid N terminal. Statement 2, adult human hemoglobin consists of 4 subunits, 2 subunits of alpha type and 2 subunits of beta type. So with regard to this statement, in option A, the position you cannot just mention as such, so you cannot consider it to be correct, whereas option statement 2 is correct because as you know, hemoglobin is made up of 4 units, 2 subunits of alpha and 2 subunits of beta, which holds correct. So here 1 is wrong and 2 is correct. You have 2 options, both are correct or false. You can exclude that. Here 1 is false, so answer is option A. Next, we are coming to the next question. We have matched the following. Interesting. Okay, you can relax now when you have not in the session. I am telling you while attempting the questions, you can just have a relaxation when you have matched the following or diagram, because even if you miss out somewhere in one option, you can guess in the other, and in diagram at least you can recall what was in the book. So is it boring? I feel no. Okay, so let's continue to answer the question. But are you tired of? You must be tired of watching the same face. But even though I must be more tired than you by explaining it. So okay, let's not feel low. Let's begin to answer. Continue to answer. We have peptic cells, goblet cells, oxynitic cells and hepatic cells. Equally, we have list 2, which has mucus bulges, proenzyme pepsinogen, HCl and intrinsic factor for absorption for vitamin B12. Okay, let's have the options also. So here, peptic cells, they produce proenzymes and pepsinogen, correct? And goblet cells, what do they do? Mucus. Then Oxyntic cells, what do they do? HCl and intrinsic factor for absorption of vitamin B12, and hepatic cells, we are well aware that it is hepatic means liver, bile juice. So it must be D1. Yes, the answer. D2, bile juice. So answer is option D. Okay, correct. A3, B1, C4 and D2. Let's go to the next question. Once the undigested and unabsorbed substance enter the caesium, their backflow is prevented by. Now they are coming to the gastrointestinal tract and its functions. Let's look. Lyrooric sphincter of Oddi, ileocecal valve and gastroesophageal sphincter. So here option A, what does it actually deals with? So it is related to the movement of chyme from stomach to duodenum. So option B, it is most relevant with the secretion of digestive juice and HCl. Okay, so then option D, what does it actually do? It prevents the backflow of food from stomach to esophagus. So here the unabsorbed food and its backflow is prevented by ileocecal valve, that is option C. Next question, vital capacity of lung is respiratory system. IRB, hope you all know the full forms of the terms used. So what is vital capacity? It is inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume and the tidal volume, which is given in option A, which is the answer. Next question, again you have matched the following. Okay, I'll take a second because I'm going on solving the questions. I need a gap, just a gap of 2 to 3 seconds. Meanwhile, you can think for the answer. Okay. Let's have the options. Okay, P wave, here you have with the systole and diastole of the heart related to your circulatory system. Okay, P wave, it's the depolarization of atria. Okay, Q wave, it's the beginning of systole, and QRS complex, it is the depolarization of ventricles, and T wave is the repolarization of ventricles. So it is A3, B1, C4 and D2, which is given in the option B. Next question, you have again assertion and a reason. Nephrons are of two types, cortical and juxtamedullary, based on their relative position in cortex and medulla. Correct. Okay. From the diagram of the kidney excretory system, here they have come to the excretory system. In kidney you have cortex and medulla, correct, based on their position. Okay. Now you have the reason. Juxtamedullary nephrons have short loop of Henle, whereas cortical nephrons have longer loop of Henle. Excuse me. Is the statement R or the reason R seems correct to you? No, because juxtamedullary nephrons have long loop of Henle, whereas cortical nephrons have short loop of Henle. See, there are minor mistakes given which you can identify only if you remember, if you know it and remember it exactly. There are not much differences, because if there is complete difference, everyone can identify it easily. Yes, that is why it's called NEET, one of the toughest exam in India. So what it must be? One is correct, but that is assertion is correct, but R is false. Let's look which has Okay, option D has the answer. A is true but R is false, so option D is the answer. Next again, okay, we have the match the following. Take a moment, go with list 1 and list 2. Okay, I want some interactions, so which might be matching which. I'll give you a fraction of 2 or 3 seconds. In that you can think the answers. Okay, let's have the options. 2, cartilaginous joint. Where is it? Actually, between adjacent vertebrae in vertebra column, correct? And ball and socket joint, it is between humerus and pectoral girdle. And fibrous joint is between flat skull bones. And saddle joint is between carpal and metacarpal of thumb. So here they're basically asking the positioning of the joints. So here the answer must be A2, B4, C1 and D3, which is given in the option C. Option C is the correct answer. Next, okay, even next we have the match the following. So look at the column 1 and column 2 and try solving it. I'll have the options also. Okay, fovea, it is point of greatest visual acuity or resolution. Okay, with related to your eye, you have this match the following. So next you have iris, that is visible colored portion of eye that regulates the diameter of your pupil. So next you have blind spot, which is point where optic nerve leaves the eyeball and photoreceptor cells are absent, so you cannot recognize what is being seen. Next you have sclera, which is external layer of eye formed due to dense connective tissue. So here the answer is option B, that is A3, B1, C4 and D2. Next question, again you have match the following. In related with the hormones which is associated with the following given options. So I'll have the options also. So CCK, GIPANFADH. So I'll just give you a task, because I'm keeping on telling everything throughout the session. Just you have to think of the full form of the given abbreviated forms. Okay, but I can get you the answers, but you have to get me the full forms. CCK is with pancreas, GIP is with gastric gland, ANF is with heart and ADH with kidney. So answer must be option 2, that is option B. Next question, given below are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. Vas deferens receives a duct from seminal vesicle and opens into urethra as the ejaculatory duct. Correct, seems to be correct. Statement 2, the cavity of cervix is called cervical canal, which along with vagina forms birth canal, which is also correct. Let's look at the options. Okay, they're asking whether both are correct or false. Both are correct. Where we have option 2, option B is the answer. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Next question, given below are, again we have assertion and reason. Let's look at that. Endometrium is necessary for implantation of blastocyst. Correct. In the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerates, that causes disintegration of endometrium, which is also correct. Let's look at the options. What does it have? Okay, here we have whether both are correct and R is the correct explanation of A. Here both the statements seem to be correct, though R is not the correct explanation of A. Let me tell you why. Okay, endometrium is necessary for implantation but not for fertilization, and the given reason here they are telling if there is no fertilization the corpus luteum degenerates. Okay, so it causes the degeneration of endometrium, which is not the correct explanation of A. So here let's have the option A and R are true, but R is the not correct explanation of A. C is the answer. Next question, which of the following statements are correct regarding female reproductive cycle? They're asking for the correct statements. Let's look at the options. In non-primate mammals, cyclic changes during reproduction are called estrous cycle. Seems to be correct. B, first menstrual cycle begins at puberty. Yes, and is called menopause. Does it seem correct? No, because it is not menopause. Menopause is the duration or the time when the menstrual cycle halts or stops. But what it must be? It must be menarche. Okay, so B is wrong. Lack of menstruation may be indicative of pregnancy. Correct. When there is no menstruation, that means the female is pregnant. Cyclic menstruation extends between menarche and menopause. Correct. So here they are asking for the correct statements. It is A, C and D only. I have told you why not B. So here in the given options, option A is the correct answer. Next question, which one of the following common sexually transmitted disease is completely curable when detected early and properly? So let me tell you, only the sexually transmitted disease which is caused due to bacteria can be cured, but the STDs caused due to virus are incurable even if they are recognized at the earliest stage possible. Let's look at the options. HIV, genital herpes, gonorrhea and hepatitis B. Among this, you must ensure which belongs to viral infection and which is bacterial infection, because I have already told you that bacterial infection is curable while viral infection is not. So here the answer is option C, because in the available options, gonorrhea is the only bacterial infection while the rest are viral infections. So here the answer is option C. Next question, again we have assertion and reason. Let's go. Amniocentesis for sex determination is one of the strategies of reproductive and child health care program. Basically, what is amniocentesis? They take what they do in amniocentesis is they take the amniocentic fluid from the chromosome of the fetus and they identify whether the child going to be born is male or female, which is not promoted. Okay, but it is banned in India. You must know sex determination is banned in India. That is why the pregnant ladies are not supposed to know their sex of the child before the birth. Okay, so reason are ban on amniocentesis checks increasing menace of female feticide. Yes, because what people used to do in the early 2000s or 90s, what they used to do, through this amniocentesis they used to get to know the whether the baby going to be born is male or female, and they used to abort if it was a female. So the government banned this amniocentesis and it is considered illegal in India. Let's look at the options. A is false but R is true. Yes, we have the option A, which is the correct answer. Next question, again you have matched the following in regards to your reproductive health. So here I will also give the options. So let's try matching. As we all know what vasectomy is, it is the they are asking which method it is. Vasectomy is surgical method, while Saheli is the oral method. Coitus interruptus is the natural method, and cervical caps is the barrier method. So here the answer must be option C. Next, you know pedigree chart, pedigree analysis. You must be also knowing the Mendel's inheritance, correct? So while writing this, which one of the following symbols represent mating between relatives in human pedigree analysis? So this is to show that it is male and female who are married, and male and female who have a boy child and who is affected by the disease. So that is what these two images describe. And A you cannot consider, you don't have any such option. And now the left out option is option C, which shows the mating between male and female. So here the answer is option C. Next, broad palm with single palm crease is visible in a person suffering from. They have given a characteristic of one of the disease which will be enlisted here, and you have to find out it's related to which of the disease. Broad palm with single palm crease is visible in a person suffering from what? Thalassemia. It is a blood related disorder. Okay, so person suffering from thalassemia might not have broad palm, but coming to these three, these are chromosomal disorders, correct? They might be affected by any one of the disease, might be affected by this character. So here coming to option C and D, Turner's and Klinefelter's syndrome, what are they? Basically they are autosomal disorders. That is, these diseases are related to the sex chromosomes, so they doesn't have much to do with the body that is the normal characteristics. Instead there will be variation in the sex chromosomes. But Down syndrome, which is a trisomy which has the extra 21st chromosome, is characterized by broad palm. So here the answer is option B. Let's go to the next question. Again we have statement 1 and 2. RNA mutates at faster rate. Yes. Viruses having RNA genome and shorter lifespan mutate and evolve faster. First they are telling RNA mutates fast. That is, as you must be also aware. Let's take corona now. Okay, what basically happened in corona? Corona was also a mRNA virus which was getting mutations, correct? You heard in the news that there is mutation and they were keeping different names for the next upcoming coronavirus. They were not new viruses, but there was mutation in their genetic material. So it occurs at a faster rate. Yes, we saw that. Viruses having RNA genome like coronavirus and shorter lifespan mutate and evolve faster. Yes, the disease spread faster. So both are correct. Let's look at the options. Okay, here both are correct. So answer must be option B. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Next, again, okay, you have here the genes of lacoperon and the enzymes in relevant to the given genes. So now your work is to just match them. Remember lacoperon because it is one of the most important operon that you are studying. So I will have the options also. Okay, gene A, it is associated with permease, correct? Gene Y with repressor protein. Gene Y produces the repressor protein, and gene I is responsible for the beta galactosidase is associated with gene I, and gene Z or gene Z is associated with trans-acetylase. So here the answer must be, gene Z is associated with beta galactosidase. So here the answer must be option C, that is gene A with transacetylase, gene Y with permease, gene I with repressor protein, gene Z with beta galactosidase. Okay, I went wrong for some time, sorry for that. Next question, again we have two statements. Okay, what's happening, I'm standing here for a long time and my eyes are dried, so that's what I'm going wrong with the options when it comes to match the following. So I'm going a step back and trying to answer. So let's have the next question. In prokaryotes, the positively charged DNA, is the DNA positively charged? No, the DNA is negatively charged. Okay, let's read the statement complete. In prokaryotes, the positively charged DNA is held with some negatively charged proteins in region called nucleoid. They have interchanged the charges. DNA is negatively charged and nucleoid is positively charged. Okay. Next statement, in eukaryotes, the negatively charged DNA is wrapped around the positively charged histone octamer to form nucleosome. See, they have first statement they have given DNA is positively charged, second statement they have given DNA is negatively charged, just to confuse you. So you have to be thorough as which charge is imparted on DNA. DNA is negatively charged because of its nitrogenous base and phosphate groups. So here 1 is wrong and 2 is correct. Let's have the options. So here, yes, we have option A, 1 is incorrect but 2 is true. Let's look at the next question. Select the correct group or set of Australian marsupials exhibiting adaptive radiations. Okay, they have adaptive radiations in order to go through the different environmental conditions. So let's look at the options, and here the answer must be numbat, spotted cucus and flying phalanger. Option C is the answer. Next again we have match the following: ringworm, filariasis, malaria and pneumonia, and they have given here, they have given the disease and the causative organism. You have to match with it. Okay, let's have the options also. It's ringworm, trichophyton, filariasis, Ucheria bancrofti, malaria is Plasmodium vivax, and pneumonia is Haemophilus influenza. So it is A2, B3, C4 and D1, which is given in option B. So option B is the answer. Coming to the next question. Okay, you have drugs. Okay, now are everyone getting energy? Because you have drugs here. No, it's hallucination, it's not energy. So let's look what are these. Heroin, marijuana, cocaine, morphine, and what are the effects that they have in our body that are given in list 2. Let's have the options also. Okay, heroin will slow down the body function. Marijuana, it has effect on cardiovascular system, and cocaine, what it interferes with transport of dopamine. That is why people usually go for coffee. Okay, and morphine is a painkiller. So it is A2, B1, C4 and D3, which is given by the option B. Next question, in which blood corpuscles the HIV undergoes replication and produces progeny virus? Here they are not only asking you the HIV, its full form, the steps and life cycle of the virus, but here they are asking where does the replication exactly occur at. Let's have the options. Eosinophils, TH cells, B lymphocytes and basophils. Yes, it is in the T helper cells that there is replication of the genetic material of the virus. So here the answer is option B. So yes, successively we have completed 80 questions. And how's the Josh? Must be yes ma'am. Yeah, because we are left with the other 20. We are going to resolve it fast and we are completing it at short. And yes, you are completing one question paper of 2023 ahead to prepare for NEET 2025. Okay, let's continue with the same zeal as we started. Okay, we have to start with the same energy and we are going to end with the same energy. Yes. Next question, which of the following is not a cloning vector? What is cloning vector? It basically acts as a transport vehicle in recombinant DNA technology, where it is used for the transportation of the DNA of the donor to the host. So let's look what are the options. Probe, BAC, YAC and PBR332. It is very clear that BAC, that is bacterial and yeast artificial chromosome, and PBR322 are essentially cloning vectors, but probe is not a cloning vector. Instead, it is a molecular marker used to identify the complementary gene. So here probe is not the cloning vector. Next question, which one of the following techniques does not serve the purpose of early diagnosis of a disease for its early treatment? Let's look at the options. ELISA, recombinant DNA technology, serum and urine analysis, PCR. Through looking through these options, you can easily mark out that ELISA, recombinant DNA technology and PCR is more relevant to DNA. That means you are identifying the disease even before it could occur or at the earliest stage, but serum and urine analysis, you have the markers only when the disease is predominantly available in the organism, that is humans. So it is in later stage that we have serum and urine analysis. So here the answer is C. Okay, again match list with list 2. You have matched the following. A leopard and a lion in a forest grassland, and a cuckoo laying egg in a crow's nest, fungi and root of a higher plant in mycorrhizae, a cattle egret and a cattle in a field. So here you have the options: computation, brute parasitism, mutualism and commensalism. What we feel is they are matched correctly, A1, B2, C3 and D4. Let's look at the options. Yes, one of the options has it and it is option B. So option B is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following statement is correct? Algal bloom decreases fish mortality, which is correct. Okay, let's see. Eutrophication refers to increase in domestic sewage and wastewater in lakes. Biomagnification refers to increase in concentration of toxicant at successive trophic levels. Presence of large amount of nutrients in water restricts algal bloom. So this is basically related to biodiversity, and think what must be the answer. That is, they are asking which is correct. Okay, let's justify the options. Algal bloom decreases fish mortality. No, algal bloom, if it is present in the water body, it increases fish mortality. Why? It consumes the all available oxygen and thereby it increases the BOD, biological oxygen demand. So there is no oxygen for fish, so it increases fish mortality. A is wrong. Eutrophication refers to increase in domestic sewage. No, eutrophication is increase in minerals and nutrients. B is also wrong. Biomagnification refers to increase in concentration of the toxicant at successive trophic levels. Yes, C is correct. Presence of large amount of nutrients in water does not restrict algal bloom, but it promotes algal bloom. So here the correct statement is option C. Next question, given below are two statements. Electrostatic precipitator is most widely used in thermal power plant. Yes. Statement 2, electrostatic precipitator in thermal power plant removes ionizing radiations. Do they really do that? No, they are meant to remove the particulate dust like smoke and dust particles. So 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect, which is given by option D. Option D is the answer. Next question, the unique mammalian characteristics are. Let's look at the characteristics. Pinna, monoclinic skull, mammary glands, hair, tympanic membrane, mammary glands, hair, pinna and mammary glands, hairpin and indirect development. Let's try to justify. They are asking about which are the characteristics included in the mammalian. No, the unique characteristics. What does the word unique mean? Which is different from the rest of the other group of organisms. So here, coming to the option 4, indirect development. Is mammals associated with indirect development? No, they have direct development. That is, the younger ones resemble the parental generation. So it is not indirect development. Coming to option A, monocydalic skull and tympanic membrane. These two are present in amphibians, reptiles, and this tympanic membrane are even present in aves. So the unique characteristic here is hair, pinna and mammary gland. Coming to the next question, select the correct statements with reference to chordates. They are asking the characteristics of chordates. Presence of a mid-dorsal solid and double nerve cord. There is a mid-dorsal nerve cord but which is not solid and double, so statement A is not considered. Presence of closed circulatory system, yes. Presence of paired pharyngeals, yes. Presence of dorsal heart. Chordates have ventral heart, which is wrong. B and C is correct. Trypoblastic pseudocoelomate animals. Chordates are coelomate, not pseudocoelomate. Pseudocoelomate is only as helminthes. So here option B and C are correct. Let's see which has only B and C. Option C is given by only B and C is correct. So option C is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following is characteristic feature of cockroach regarding sexual dimorphism? Now they are asking for the one of the characteristic feature of cockroach. Let's have the options. Presence of anal cerci, dark brown body and anal cerci, presence of anal styles, presence of scleritis. Yes, as we all know, these anal styles are present only in male and not in female. Other than that, other three options are present in both and male and female. Here they are asking regarding to sexual dimorphism, so the answer is option C, anal styles. Next you have the match the following, for which I will also display the options. So look at it and try to match them. Okay, mast cells, what are they? Areolar connective tissue, inner surface of bronchiole. One second. Inner surface of bronchiole is ciliated epithelium, and blood, we all know it is specialized connective tissue, and tubular parts of nephron are the cuboidal epithelium, that is A2, B1, C4 and D3, given by the option D. So option D is the correct answer. Next question, in cockroach, excretion is brought about by which of the glands is involved in the excretion of cockroach? That is excretory system. Phallic gland, uricose gland, nephrocytes, fat body and collateral glands. So here we know uricose gland, nephrocytes and fat body are involved in the excretion of excretory system of cockroach, but phallic gland and collateral glands are involved in the reproductive system. So only B, C and D is involved. Let's see which of the options have it. It's present in option D. So option D is the correct answer. Next question. Oh, finally we came to the 90th, that is the last 10 questions of the session. Okay, be clear, be energetic and be optimistic and try to solve these questions, and we are going to end the session not less than 10 minutes. Okay, so let's have during G0 phase of cell cycle, the cell is metabolically inactive, that is statement 1, and the centrosome undergoes duplication during S phase of interphase. So they are asking, in the light of the above statements, choose the most appropriate answer from the option below. Let's look what are the options. Okay, it's more likely to have whether one is correct, which of the statement is correct and wrong. There's nothing related to explanation. So during G0 phase, cell cycle is not metabolically inactive, it is metabolically active. So here the statement 1 is wrong, while the statement 2 holds correct. Centrosome undergoes duplication in S phase of interphase. So one is incorrect and 2 is correct, which is given by the option A. Option A is the answer. Next question, select the correct statements. Tetrad formation is seen during leptotene. During anaphase, the centromere split and chromatids separate. Terminalization takes place during pachytene. Nucleolus, Golgi complex and endoplasmic reticulum are reformed during telophase. Crossing over takes place between sister chromatids of homologous. So let's look what are the options which are there, and now you have to choose the correct statements only. So here what happens is A, tetrad formation is seen in leptotene, it is seen in zygotene, so A is false. During anaphase, the centromere split and chromatids separate. Think, is it correct? Yes. Terminalization takes place during pachytene. No, it takes place during diakinesis. Nucleolus, Golgi complex and ER are formed during telophase. Correct. Crossing over takes place between sister chromatids. No, they of homologous. No, they take place between non-sister chromatid. So here the correct statement is B and D only. Option C is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following statements are correct? Basophils are the most abundant cells of the total WBC. Through this statement, you must have the conclusion that no, neutrophils are the most abundant cells available in WBC. Basophils secrete histamine, serotonin and heparin. Okay. Basophils are involved in inflammatory response. Correct. Basophils have kidney-shaped nucleus. No, their nucleus is lobe-shaped. Basophil are agranulates. They are granulate. So here you have to choose which is correct. It is option B and C. Let's look at the options which has B and C. It is the option D holds B and C only, which is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following statements are correct? An excessive loss of body fluid from the body switches off osmoreceptors. It does not switch off, but it decreases. Okay. ADH facilitates water reabsorption to prevent diuresis. ANF causes vasodilation. ADH causes increase in blood pressure. ADH is responsible for decrease in GFR. ADH alone is not directly responsible for decrease in GFR, but there are also other factors which are influencing. So here A and E are false, so B, C and D are correct. Let's look at the options which has that answer. So option C has B, C, D only, which is the correct. So option C is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following statements are correct regarding skeletal muscle? Okay. Now, we have been solving so many questions and I have kept answering everything, what is right and what is wrong and why is it. So here in this question I'll be telling you the answer, but you will have to try to justify why it is. Okay, let's have the options and let's find the answer. Okay, here muscle bundles are held together by collagenous connective tissue layer called fascicle. Sarcoplasmic reticulum of muscle fiber is storehouse of calcium ions. Striated appearance of skeletal muscle fiber is due to distribution pattern of actin and myosin protein. M line is considered as functional unit of contraction called sarcomere. Okay, by this you know A and D is wrong, but I have to know why. which you will be solving, but B and C is correct. So here option C is the correct answer. Okay. Next question, the parts of human brain that helps in regulation of sexual behavior, expression of excitement, pleasure, rage, fear, etc. are. They're asking about the parts of brain, that is the function of different parts of brain. In that, which of the following part is responsible for the sexual behavior, expression of excitement, pleasure and fear? So here the answer is, what is the answer? It is limbic system and hypothalamus. Correct? Hypothalamus and limbic system regulates all of these characters. Next question, which of the following are not under the control of thyroid hormone? Which is not under the control of thyroid hormone? Let's look at the option. Maintenance of water and electrolyte balance, it is under the thyroid hormone. Regulation of basal metabolic rate, no. B is not. Normal rhythm of sleep-wake cycle, it is. Development of immune system, no. The support the process of RBC formation. Let's also look at the options. Here, which is not under the control of thyroid hormone. So electrolyte balance is controlled by thyroid, metabolic rate also is controlled, and RBC's formation is also, but sleep-wake cycle and immune system is not under the control of thyroid hormone. So C and D is given in option D, which is the answer. Next question, which one of the following is the sequence on corresponding coding strand if the sequence on mRNA formed is as follow? You have to read the statement. What will be the corresponding code if this is DNA code? If it is mRNA, what will be the coding? Let's look at the options. It's as easy as that. 5 prime, it must be 5 prime on DNA and mRNA. Adenine must be present as adenine, but uracil is present in DNA, not in RNA, so it is replaced by thymine. So what? Here you see after A where you have T. Okay, you cannot consider B and C because you have U at the beginning, that is uracil. Here we have adenine, and adenine is given in A and D. You can directly derive the answer. The option is D, because 5 prime has to be here also 5 prime and 3 prime there. Here they have not only interchanged the 5 prime and 3 prime, but you have to have T in place of U, which is given in option D. So option D is the correct answer. Next, which one of the following not an advantage of inbreeding? Yeah, we are coming to an almost end. It's like 1% discount, 99. Yeah, 199, 299. We are in the 99. So let's look which is not advantage of inbreeding. It decreases the productivity of inbreed population after continuous inbreeding. It decreases homozygosity. It exposes harmful recessive genes that are eliminated by selection. Elimination of less desirable genes and accumulation of superior genes takes place due to it. They are asking what is the disadvantage among the following due to inbreeding, which is it decreases productivity of inbreeding population after continuous inbreeding. So here the answer is option A. And yes, we are in the final question and you must be able to maths, and we are in the complete last question and end of the session. So I will directly give the answer for this. Okay, logistic growth, it is the limited source availability condition, exponential exponential growth, that is unlimited resource availability condition, expanding age pyramid, it is the percent individuals of pre-reproductive age is largest, followed by reproductive and post-reproductive age groups, and stable age pyramid is the percent individuals of pre-reproductive and reproductive age group are same, that is A2, B1, C3 and D4, given by option B, and option B is the correct answer. Yes, and we completed the session. We have successfully completed, Shantanu sir has completed the 2024 paper, and here we are done with 2023. Keep awaiting for the next sessions and be enthusiastic and filled with zeal to solve the next year questions, okay, followed by the decreasing in the years. Next we'll have 22 followed by 21 and the rest. So hope this helps you. Thank you. Signing off. Bye. Keep learning, keep growing with Nama Tapasya. Endigo endendigo Nama Tapasya. Bye. ಆಯ್ತು.